as considered the marketing savior for the sport.
So many people were also painting her out to be the problem. She could never do enough. She could never speak out enough.
WNBA players are expressing dissatisfaction with Caitlin Clark's new offer from Europe. Some feel entitled to larger contracts themselves, arguing that their longer tenure in the league warrants higher pay.
Game is physical. Caitlin is helping to grow the league. These women understand that, but she cannot be babied as a rookie. That's all I'm at.
Caitlin's move abroad could disrupt the NBA, as she is set to become the highest paid player in the world, something she truly deserves. In this new league, she'll face opponents who respect her talent rather than wishing for her failure.
Here's the reality. It wasn't what it is. The quality of basketball may have been up to snuff, and you had somebody as popular as Cheryl Swoops, who had her own signature shoe, had to deal with Nike and all of this other stuff. But the bottom line is, very few people gave a damn.
Why would Caitlin want to remain in a league where even her fellow players turn against her? Recent news shows Nalissa Smith laughing with DJ Carrington about the viral eye poke incident, highlighting the lack of support she faces.
Ow! Oh, I'm sorry. You poked me in the eye. You're You did.
I did not poke you.
Did you do it on purpose?
I did not poke you.
Did you do it on purpose?
That's Caitlin's own teammate. DJ Carrington mocked her by asking if she did it on purpose, and yet her teammate didn't even defend her in that moment.
Hold on, man. This woman is booed up with the girl that poked Caitlin Clark in the eye. They're making videos making fun of Caitlin Clark in the eye poke. What is the Indiana Fever doing?
Her team hasn't shown any support for Caitlin. Instead, they've been posting highlights of Smith's season. It's evident that the opposing players don't want her in the league, and now her own teammates are making fun of her. Caitlin has every reason to accept the EuroLeague offer and leave the WNBA, which may end up begging her to return.
I wonder if Caitlin, in every post-game press conference, she came out and talked about the kind of hateful comments that she was getting. If she came out and told everybody the reason why she has personal security that goes with her every single place, it's a lot. And so it's not just Caitlin Clark fans or Indiana Fever fans. It is not all going in one direction.
Caitlin Clark's contract with a European team isn't just another career move. It highlights the stark disparities in opportunities between certain players in the WNBA and those who can draw attention abroad. But why does this move evoke such strong emotions within the league? Caitlin, who has only recently transitioned to professional basketball, has garnered international attention that even established players like A'ja Wilson, one of the biggest names in women's basketball, haven't received in years.
Saying it wasn't to the degree of Caitlin Clark being on that basketball court and people watching her, but nevertheless, rising tide lifts all boats.
A'ja Wilson's frustration surrounding Caitlin Clark's move to Europe isn't just about a singular contract. It stems from a broader issue within the WNBA that touches on recognition, opportunity, and the unequal treatment of talent. As a two-time league MVP, A'ja has always believed that the title should carry significant weight beyond just an accolade. It should open doors for financial rewards, prime contracts, and the highest recognition the sport can offer. Yet, in this situation, she's seeing something that challenges that belief. Caitlin Clark, though a rising star and undoubtedly talented, is receiving offers and recognition that A'ja believes should go to players who have accomplished more in the professional league. To her, this is more than a simple contract deal. It sends a message to the rest of the WNBA, and not a good one. The idea that someone relatively new to the league, like Caitlin, can secure such lucrative opportunities while long-standing stars like herself often struggle for similar recognition feels like a stark injustice. There are many women in the WNBA who have laid the groundwork and are still playing at an elite level, yet they aren't receiving the same attention. A'ja Wilson's frustration also taps into a larger issue in the WNBA, where accomplishment doesn't always translate into financial success or marketability. While Caitlin Clark was still in college, her games regularly attracted packed stadiums filled with fans eager to see her play. At the same time, A'ja, a two-time MVP at the professional level, wasn't drawing the same crowds. For Asia and others, this speaks to a deeper problem within the league. There is a disparity between talent and reward, one that often doesn't favor even the best players in the WNBA. There's also an undeniable racial undertone to this conversation. Caitlyn's stardom, often amplified by media coverage, stands in contrast to the experience of many black athletes in the WNBA, including Asia. The racial dynamics of who gets promoted and why aren't lost on Asia, and it feeds into her broader disillusionment. There's a reason why 12 million people tuned in to watch Caitlyn's college games on ESPN. But had that game aired on a bigger network like CBS, the viewership likely would have been even higher. The stark difference between the attention Caitlyn receives and what many of the league's established players get raises questions about how race, media visibility, and marketability intersect in women's basketball. This brings us to the tension between Caitlyn and other players in the WNBA, particularly DJ Carrington. Carrington's animosity toward Caitlyn isn't exactly a secret, and it came to a head in what is now referred to as the infamous eye poke incident, during which Caitlyn was left with a black eye. Rather than expressing remorse, Carrington chose to mock Caitlyn, escalating the situation in a way that suggested her resentment ran deeper than a simple on-court rivalry. Carrington's actions during the eye poke incident symbolized something more personal. This wasn't just a one-off display of bad sportsmanship. It revealed deeper frustration that Carrington has harbored toward Caitlyn, who has become the face of women's basketball in a way that Carrington has not. It's not a matter of talent. Carrington is a highly skilled player, but she hasn't achieved the same level of fame or media attention. For her, Caitlyn's rapid rise feels like a slap in the face, as if all of her hard work is being overshadowed by someone who hasn't paid her dues. Nalissa Thomas, another player in the WNBA, has aligned herself with Carrington in their shared disdain for Caitlyn. After the eye poke incident, Nalissa was caught on camera laughing about Caitlyn's injury, showing a complete lack of empathy for a fellow athlete. For many, this type of behavior is shocking and unprofessional, especially coming from players who should be setting an example. It has created a toxic atmosphere within the league, where players seem more focused on tearing each other down than lifting each other up. This situation doesn't just impact the players involved, it speaks to larger issues within the WNBA. The league has always prided itself on being a place where athletes support one another and work together to elevate the sport, but Caitlyn's experience tells a different story. Instead of receiving solidarity from her peers, she's faced hostility, and this is creating an environment where the pressure to compete is compounded by personal grudges and professional envy. What's even more troubling is that Caitlyn's team, the Indiana Fever, hasn't been particularly supportive either. In professional sports, a team is supposed to be a player's sanctuary, a place where everyone is united in the common goal of winning games and working together. However, Caitlyn's experience with the Fever has been anything but supportive. After the eye poke incident, the team failed to publicly defend her or even acknowledge the situation. This silence from her teammates and coaching staff feels like a betrayal, especially considering Caitlyn's contributions to both the Fever and the league as a whole. The indifference from the Indiana Fever points to a much deeper issue within the team culture. If a star player like Caitlyn, who has brought significant attention to the WNBA, isn't getting the backing of her own team, it signals that something is seriously wrong. A player's personal well-being and contributions to the team should be valued, but in this case, it seems like Caitlyn's efforts are being taken for granted. This lack of support has undoubtedly contributed to Caitlyn's decision to consider playing in Europe. In European leagues, star players are treated with more care and respect. They are offered better contracts, face less hostility, and often find themselves in environments where their success is celebrated rather than resented. For Caitlyn, a move to Europe could offer not just financial rewards, but a chance to play in a more supportive atmosphere, far away from the toxic environment she's currently facing in the WNBA. The impact of Caitlyn's potential departure on the WNBA cannot be understated. Her presence has brought in new fans and increased visibility for the league, When she missed games during the playoffs, there was an immediate drop in attendance and viewership. Fans who had tuned in specifically to watch her lost interest, and this speaks to the precarious position the WNBA finds itself in. The league has worked hard to build its fan base and increase viewership, but if top talent like Caitlin leaves for better opportunities abroad, the league's long-term growth could be in jeopardy. Players like Angel Reese, DJ Carrington, and Asia Wilson are aware of how crucial it is for the WNBA to retain its biggest stars. Caitlin's move to Europe could set a dangerous precedent, signaling to other top players that they too can find better opportunities outside the league. If the WNBA doesn't find a way to retain its most marketable and talented athletes, it risks losing the momentum it has worked so hard to build over the past few years. Caitlin's departure could serve as a tipping point for the WNBA, one that sends the league into a downward spiral. The women who came before her helped pave the way for today's success. But if the WNBA doesn't address its internal issues, it could lose not only its biggest stars, but also its chance at sustainable growth. Ultimately, this situation isn't just about Caitlin or her move to Europe. It's about the future of the WNBA as a whole and whether it can continue to thrive in a competitive sports landscape.